not necessarily odd, I think wrong is probably the word. It's great that there was a session, and it's awful that in 2017 we still have to be asking ourselves why it's important. But it is important, unfortunately, and that importance shouldn't be dampened down by the fact that it's in the fringe. It's a mainstream issue for us because we are not there as a sector, and it shouldn't be a fringe issue. If you don't like the gender balance in housing, do something about it, change it. You take one direct action. It might be really small. Maybe take one of your women apprentices to lunch, buy someone a feminist book who's never had that kind of book, let someone come out with you to a meeting that they wouldn't have done. Set yourself that challenge over the next week. Take an action. Tweet me, tweet Alison. Tell us what you're going to do. Tell us you've done it.
So I think for frontline housing professionals, I think that we need to exploit basically the really unique position that we have, i.e. the relationship with our residents. I think, more than any other agency in this country, we have unfettered access to their homes, but also to their lives. We have the opportunity, much more than any other agency like crisis services such as the police or social services, to actually ask questions and find out, are our residents okay? So some of the kind of more practical suggestions that I made were things like, having routine inquiry. If residents are in rent arrears, for example, why not ask the question, why are you unable to pay your rent, rather than issuing, summons to call and that being the first point of contact that the resident has. Simple things like communications, having leaflets with domestic abuse images on them, or having the National Domestic Violence Helpline number available throughout your offices so that residents recognise that domestic abuse is something that you're aware of, and also creates a safe space for them then to come forward and maybe disclose. So DAHA, the Domestic Abuse Housing Alliance, are an organisation that national organisation that work to improve the housing sector response to domestic abuse. They provide an accreditation service for housing providers who want to kind of find out where the gaps are in their service around domestic abuse, and also just general information to find out how they can improve their response. And you can find them online, on Twitter and all the usual social media, so worth getting in touch.
Recognition, to be a member of an institute in housing when you work in the housing sector. I think that professional recognition is important, particularly when you're making your way up through a career, when you get to management level and so on. It's that it just shows people that you're not only serious about your role and about the sector, but just that you want to develop.
It was about the negative stereotypes that are perpetuated about social housing tenants. Having said that, it was a really positive session actually, and there was real passion from the panellists and from the audience about tackling these stereotypes. Well, we have a plan. There's 13 organisations have come together to produce a campaign called Benefit to Society, and what I'd like everyone watching to do is log on to our new microsite, benefittosociety.co.uk, sign up for news, support us. We've got the backing of 13 associations of 24 Housing, Inside Housing. We've even got the backing of Facebook. So I'd like to see every landlord here signing up, every tenant here signing up and really making a difference. I think we absolutely need to get out of the housing bubble, but equally we need not just to point the finger at the Daily Mail and assume we're okay, Jack. We need to look at ourselves and the language we use about social housing tenants. For example, turning people's lives around. You don't turn someone's life around. If their life needs turned around, they do that, hopefully with the right support, but you don't do it for them. And we need to look very carefully at the language we use, and we need to be promoting tenants to share their stories and have their voices.
I think some of the overlooked benefits that people don't realise that CIH offer, and I think one of the biggies is mentoring. There are some excellent mentors in CIH, and it's certainly something that's helped me in my career and something I encourage my team to take up, and any CIH member. I think that's important. The networking aspect is really important, and that doesn't need to be face-to-face. We have a really active CIH network on Twitter, and the amount of knowledge and experience and ideas I gain from that group is more than I kind of get from any event that I attend over the year. So I think it doesn't always have to be kind of going somewhere, because that can be expensive. There's a lot you can get kind of online and via colleagues and members on social media.
There are amazing, brilliant women working in housing, and the sector undoubtedly looks very, very different to how it looked, 30 years ago. But I think we've got a long way to go. I think we still model certain kinds of leadership. I think leadership is something that Barbara Spicer was talking about earlier this morning. A leader isn't just a chief executive. We've got leaders throughout our organisation, within our communities, at every level. There are different ways of doing leadership. I think the days of the heroic command and control leadership is really unsuited to the 21st century, and I think more softer skills are needed. Everybody's very busy and lots and lots of tight pressures and deadlines. It's really easy to go to the same people to ask opinions, and that's whether they're men or women. But there are some incredible diverse voices out there. I just think we all need to challenge ourselves. Maybe on every panel or every discussion that we have, we should have someone there who's never been involved in that discussion before. Let's bring on the next generation.